So one of the biggest questions we get asked in response to an answer is, okay, I want to do service accommodation, I have an empty property, how do I set it up? What do I need to do to get it ready? That's a big complex answer. It really depends on your property, and if you're using Pillow, your property manager will take you through this. They'll have a checklist, they'll work with you to get your property ready, not just operationally ready but legal wise as well. But when we're looking at what you need, a very brief answer for this intro series: what do you need to get your property up and ready? Well, it isn't like a buy to let. I want you to look at it from the very start as hospitality, not property. Look at it as a little mini hotel. So what are your guests going to need there to be happy? And when I started this, and I did it 2000, so nearly 20 years ago, I did my first, didn't call it service accommodation, but I just put stuff in as a young guy. I was 20 at the time. I didn't know what guests would want. I made a mistake 20 years ago when I started this. I put in what I wanted, but we need to look at it from the eyes of the guests. So it needs to be furnished to a really good standard. Don't be putting IKEA stuff in if you can avoid it, because it's frequent use, it's occasional use. We need quality beds, quality sofa beds, decent linen. It needs to look good for photos. So it's going to need to have everything there for your target market, whether that's contractors, tourist, leisure market, high-end corporate guests, whatever that is. And again, if you're working with Pillow, we'll give you the furnishing list, we'll tell you exactly what to put in it, but you're going to need to furnish this to a high standard, and we say don't save money on this. One, it needs to feel good, it needs to be quality when people come in so that you get good reviews, and it also needs to look good for photos. Now, this is a classic. We used a furnishing company from a service accommodation world that did some of our units, and this is nice. But if I'd got an old sofa from a charity shop and stuck an old picture up and mismatching cushions, that's not going to look good in photos, and the guests are going to come and say that's horrible, low quality. They're not going to come back, they're going to give you bad reviews. So you're going to need everything for your target market. If you've got a holiday cottage and someone's going to book it for 2 weeks and it's in the middle of the country, you're going to need absolutely everything there that someone would need in their own home. So everything to cook, pots, pans, cutlery, furniture, wine, bottle opener, all these things, so many things, too many to cover in this video. But look at it as, what would you want? If you went to a holiday cottage, what would you want in that? If you were there with your family for 2 weeks, then what are you going to need? Likewise, if you've got a city centre property, what would you want from a weekend city break? You're going to need all these things, like full serving dishes? Perhaps not, but you're going to need things that you would want in any city break that you went to. So you're just going to get bad reviews if you scrimp and save in these things. You're going to need quality Wi-Fi. So we're going to need to pay for things that you wouldn't pay for as a buy-to-let landlord. So you're going to definitely need good Wi-Fi. Again, you can get cheap Wi-Fi, $7.99 a month from PlusNet. Once a kid is on streaming something and playing a computer game and the mum and dad's watching Netflix, it'll just fall out all the time. You're going to need to have the right insurances in place. Sometimes you're going to need the right planning in place. You're going to need to change it from council tax to business rates. Too lengthy to cover in this video, but if you're working with your local property manager, she'll work with you, she'll have a checklist, or he'll have a checklist. They will go through, make sure you don't miss anything, you're 100% legal, you're 100% safe, and the property is kitted out as well as it could be. Now, the last thing I'll mention is, what do you need? Well, people can take pictures on their phones, and that's good, but getting good quality pictures will make you 10 times, 100 times more money than it'll ever cost to get them. So maybe you're paying a couple of £100 for photos, and you can say, yeah, I can save money by doing this on my phone, but trust me, good quality photos are going to make a massive difference there. So we need all our safety checks in place to make sure the property is legal. We're going to need to furnish that property to make sure it's quality for the type of guests that you want to attract. You don't need to furnish it to a super high standard if your guests that you're trying to attract aren't at that high level. But we're going to need to get everything in place that you might want. And we always say, get it to a minimum viable product, get it out there, and put some of your money in every single month to make it better and better, so that the more reviews you get, the more people that stay, it just gets better quality. Every single month there's more books, there's more games, there's more things for most things in the garden. It's just a better standard of property as months go on. You're reinvesting some of your profits to make that quality experience for your guests.